Group chat with my lawyers. Shit.
Oh, so this is the reason why all this is coming out.
Man, my boy Daryl, man, you gotta make sure he's a good dude. He's a good human being.
This is why all this is coming out. It makes sense. Not gonna lie, Halle Bailey, you're cooked. You need Jay-Z to back you up, son.
Y'all, this situation is spiraling fast. What started as a whisper about a chipped tooth has turned into an all-out media storm. At first, folks were clowning DDG, thinking he just chipped a tooth in a clumsy moment. The internet did what it does, flipped out. Memes flew. Jokes rolled. But then DDG pulled out his own set of receipts. And let's just say, this ain't a Disney tale anymore. This is a full-on Little Mermaid meltdown, and the tide is rising fast. Halle Bailey, the voice behind Disney's most beloved sea princesses, no longer just singing lullabies. She's making legal noise, courtroom cries, and drawing lines in the sand against her ex, rapper and YouTuber DDG. What started as a quiet breakup, the kind we've seen 100 times with subtle unfollows and cryptic captions, morphed into something darker. In a stunning move, Halle filed for a restraining order. Not just that, she brought evidence. Photos showing bruises, a chipped tooth, claims of stalking, verbal threats, and emotional damage. She painted the picture of a woman breaking free from a nightmare, and the court believed her. The judge didn't hesitate. Halle was granted temporary full custody of their baby boy, Halo, and DDG was slapped with a restraining order that kept him 100 yards away. Too many. It looked like the sweet, soft-voiced starlet had finally found her roar. But that wasn't the end of it. DDG never one to go quiet, clapped back and loud. He came armed with screenshots, claims of manipulation, and a very different version of events. Now, his counterattack is echoing across both the entertainment industry and the court of public opinion. Whispers are already swirling that Halle might have lost a major film role, not because of DDG's words alone, but because of the tangled narrative surrounding her. Her image, that innocent siren we all fell in love with, as suddenly on shaky ground. Let's rewind to mid-May 2025. Halle walks into a Los Angeles courthouse. Face bare, eyes weary, clutching a thick file of what she called proof. She wasn't chasing drama, she was seeking protection. Inside those documents, she claimed DDG had screamed at her in front of their baby, that he had shown up uninvited, broken a camera, and tried to take Halo without permission. She said she felt hunted, like the man she once trusted had turned into a stranger. The judge listened. She didn't just want space, she wanted safety, and the court gave it to her. She got emergency protection, full temporary custody, and DDG was ordered to stay silent and far away. But the most chilling request: she wanted him in a 52-week battery intervention program. That wasn't just "I'm hurt." That was "I'm scared." Photos soon leaked of bruises, a busted tooth, and the internet went into overdrive. To some, Halle became a symbol of strength. To others, a heartbreaking story unfolding in real time. DDG was dragged online, accused of being toxic, abusive, his name plastered across hashtags like #FreeHalo and #BelieveHalle. He was being publicly burned at the digital stake. Meanwhile, DDG wasn't cracking. He responded not with silence but with strategy, flipping the script in a way that made people pause. Now, the spotlight's swinging back and forth, and as the world watches, one thing's clear: this isn't just about celebrity drama. It's about power, image, truth, and who controls the narrative when fairy tales fall apart.
Chat, rate fit, man. Feel like, damn, bro. Should I get a stylist? Why are they saying GGTMZ? Let's see.
Why are they saying GGTMZ?
All right, I'm looking at her story now. Oh. About that. Don't even.
That can't even be real.
That, bro.
But that can't even be real.
But,
that's the thing.
But don't even. But you remember we talked about last night? All that. Let me say something. It's not.
No, I'm saying, but I don't know where that even came from.
Yo, stop these fake allegations. This is a father. This is a real person. It's a good human being.
Even, but I don't.
But hey, bro, we on stream, bro.
Come on, like I gotta be.
Just don't do it, bro. Come here. Don't even make no back. That's my real friend. We're not gonna do no false ruin this stream. He's a great human being. He does a lot for a lot of people. He's a man. He's a father, and we're gonna respect him. We're gonna love him. WDDG. If anyone got anything to say.
What started as whispers behind the scenes has now erupted into full-blown chaos. While the internet was locked in on Halle Bailey's side of the story, softlit selfies, maternal strength, and courtroom victories, DDG was quietly gearing up his defense. And when he finally spoke, he didn't just defend himself. He flipped the entire narrative on its head. DDG claimed he wasn't the villain. According to him, he was the one under siege. While Halle was sharing her story with the world, DDG was in the background building a legal arsenal: text messages, surveillance footage, testimony, even physical evidence. Just days after the restraining order was granted, he filed a legal motion of his own, claiming the real danger was not him but her. He accused Halle of manipulating the legal system, not to escape danger, but to destroy his name and take their son, Halo, out of the country. And it didn't stop there. According to DDG, she stalked him for months using Apple AirTags, not just one. Several. One was allegedly found hidden under the seat of his Maybach, tucked inside a Hello Kitty pet tracker. Another inside a vitamin bottle in his Escalade, but the one that truly set the internet on fire. Inside Halo's diaper bag, wrapped tight beneath the cardboard lining, a literal pet tracker on their baby's belongings. That detail shook everyone suddenly. The protective mother narrative didn't feel so simple anymore. Then DDG's mom added fuel to the blaze. She claimed Halle showed up uninvited at a Beverly Hills movie theater while DDG was on a date. Not only that, she allegedly confronted the other woman and tried to start a fight. The obvious question: how did she even know where he was? DDG's mother had the answer: she'd been tracking him, she said, the whole time. But even that chaos wasn't the breaking point. The real tipping moment came with the knife incident. According to DDG, Halle had been blowing up his phone with frantic, aggressive messages, things like "answer me," typed in all caps. He asked her to stop, begged even, "Please, I just want to be left alone." But instead of backing off, she replied, "I'm calling for help. I have a knife." He says she attacked him. The wound on his thumb was deep, and when photos of the injury surfaced, it was hard to deny it looked real. So did the flurry of panic texts he sent her, begging her to put the knife down. And it didn't stop there. On Mother's Day, when he chose not to spend the day with her, she allegedly stormed out with their son in one arm and his Glock in her purse. He says she claimed she was just packing, but the texts painted a more frightening picture. "If you don't come back here, I'm calling the police," he warned her. "You have a son." Her reply: "You ruined me." Even more disturbing were texts he claims came from earlier, when she believed he was cheating on her with influencer Lala. In a moment of pure rage, Halle allegedly messaged him, "I'm going to end it tonight. My son will not be around for it. I hate you forever." The messages continued long, emotional, laced with typos and raw pain. She was furious, unraveling, and, in his words, dangerous. As the dust began to settle, public opinion started to shift. The internet that once stood firmly behind Halle began to question the full picture. Because no matter how sweet your voice is, hiding surveillance devices in your baby's belongings and sending chilling threats isn't a good look. This wasn't just about a breakup. This was a battle for reputation, custody, and control. A modern tragedy playing out in real time, where love turned into fear, and fairy tales turned into forensic evidence. And then, somewhere in the noise, DDG went silent again. Halle returned to social media, subtle, elegant, but quieter now, and the fans, they're left sifting through receipts, screenshots, and two wildly different versions of the same heartbreak, trying to figure out who's telling the truth when both sides are drowning in pain.
Whole friend group went on this trip, and everyone on this trip can confirm there was nothing weird going on. I wasn't even staying near them. It was for someone's birthday. Let's start there. There was never anything sneaky going on. Like, me and Daryl's relationship has always been strictly started off as business. Obviously, if you know, you know. Like, he put me onto YouTube, started off there, grew into a friendship, has always remained platonic. So it's very unfortunate. Like, I know people already have this narrative because it's just hard to believe that a guy and a girl can be friends. Like, it's hard to believe that me and him or any other guy and girl can just strictly be platonic friends, okay? But nothing has ever gone on past that.
So this mama had pain in her fingers and chaos in her heart. But in all the drama, the headlines, the courtrooms, and the back and forth group chats, we can't forget the one name that really matters: baby Halo. because while DDG and Halle Bailey were swinging legal punches and bleeding stories to the press, there was a 1-year-old child caught in the middle of it all, tugged like a rope in a custody war neither parent seemed ready to stop. And that's where things stopped being messy and started getting tragic. See, somewhere between the restraining orders, public shade, burner accounts, and AirTag accusations, Halle made what should have been a simple, human request. She wanted to take Halo with her to Italy for 2 months while she filmed a new movie. On the surface, it seemed innocent. She's a mother and a top-tier actress, trying to balance parenthood and her career. Italy wasn't a vacation, it was work. She even offered to set up FaceTime calls, maintain communication, and return on a set date. She was trying to do it the right way. But DDG wasn't having it, not even a little. He filed an emergency court motion to stop her from leaving the country with their son. His claim, that Halle, despite her polished public image, was mentally unstable, emotionally volatile, and possibly even dangerous not just to herself, but to their son. In his own words, leaked through court documents, if she leaves court jurisdiction, who's going to stop her if something goes wrong? He painted a picture of a woman unraveling under pressure, battling postpartum issues, lashing out, and acting impulsively. According to him, letting her leave would be like tossing Halo into a storm with no umbrella. And that's where things got darker. Sources close to Halle pushed back hard, saying DDG was weaponizing mental health to control her movements and discredit her as a mother. They claimed she had been the one managing Halo's schedule, feeding him, dressing him, nursing him through fevers, while DDG chased YouTube clicks and rap dreams. Screenshots began surfacing, texts from Halle begging for balance, asking DDG to show up for his son emotionally instead of just popping in with cameras or doing it for clout. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Italy, it was about every fight that had gone unspoken and every wound that hadn't healed. Then came the character statements. Halle's legal team submitted letters from co-stars, friends, and even her team members, all vouching for her fitness as a mother. They described her as present, nurturing, and fiercely protective of her son. Meanwhile, DDG's team emphasized the fear that if Halle left the country with Halo, he might never see his son again. They claimed she had refused to share key documents like the passport, skipped scheduled visitations, and created an environment where co-parenting was next to impossible. And while the court debated logistics and legalities, baby Halo remained silent through it, all just a toddler, watching adults spin webs around his future. The online world took sides. Fans rallied behind Halle, calling DDG controlling and manipulative. Others defended him, saying no father should be cut off from their child under any circumstance. TikTokers dissected court statements like FBI agents. Twitter threads turned into timelines of alleged toxicity. From subtle digs to full-blown gaslighting, but underneath the hashtags there's a deeper heartbreak. A little boy caught in a grown-up game. A mother who wants to protect and provide. A father who wants control, or maybe connection depending on who you ask. And a courtroom trying to untangle truth from trauma before someone else pays the price. Because this isn't just about celebrity beef or messy breakups anymore. This is about what happens when love turns legal, when Instagram romance becomes courtroom warfare, and when both parents believe they're doing what's best, but no one stops long enough to ask what Halo needs most. He didn't stop there. He claimed she had driven with Halo in the car while threatening to unalive herself. That she had sent texts saying she'd harm herself and the baby. He even referenced her struggles with postpartum depression, not to shame her but to say, she's drowning, and I don't feel safe letting our son leave the country with her. And that checks out, timing-wise. Back in April, Halle publicly opened up about her postpartum experience. I didn't realize how serious it actually was. It feels like trying to swim through the biggest waves you've ever felt, just trying to come up for air. Now, the question becomes, does that make her dangerous? Or just human? The internet was split in two. Some fans said DDG was weaponizing her vulnerability, using the raw honesty of a woman navigating postpartum darkness against her to win a custody battle. They pointed out how often women's emotions get used in court to strip them of their children, but others argued that it's not about gender, it's about safety, that if the roles were reversed and a man had sent similar texts or driven erratically with a child in the car while talking about self-harm, we wouldn't hesitate to call it out. That a parent's pain, no matter how understandable, can still create unsafe conditions for a child. That's when the conversation turned from celebrity gossip to something much deeper. People started asking the uncomfortable, necessary questions. What if it wasn't Halle Bailey? What if it was your brother, your cousin, your friend saying his partner scratched him, stalked him, or threatened to crash a car with their baby in the back seat? Domestic violence goes both ways. Emotional abuse does, too. And while it's crucial to believe women and protect mothers in distress, it's also important not to immediately dismiss a man when he says, "I'm scared." DDG's claims weren't just about disagreements or drama. According to court documents leaked to TMZ, he was pushing for sole custody, or at the very least, monitored exchanges, supervised visitation, and a ban on Halle taking Halo out of state or country without a judge's approval. It was a full-blown legal shutdown, and it raised eyebrows everywhere. To some, it looked like a protective father drawing a hard boundary. To others, it felt like a premeditated move control, disguised as concern. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. The film Halle was supposed to shoot in Italy, rumored to be a major international project, suddenly started to shift. Word behind the scenes was that producers began to worry about the press, the court battle, the optics of having an actress fly overseas with a baby while publicly accused of threatening harm, insurance complications, child protection concerns, and media risk all piled up. And just like that, whispers of cold feet started circling the industry. The production didn't make a formal announcement, but sources close to the project claimed Halle was being quietly recast. Disney remained silent, her reps, radio silence. No statements. No clarification. Just a slow vanishing of what was meant to be her next career milestone. That's when fans realized this wasn't just about a custody dispute, it was about reputation. About how fast the industry can turn on a woman once she stops fitting their image of perfect motherhood. Halle went from being a rising star to a potential liability, all based on allegations that hadn't even been ruled on by a judge. She opened up about her mental health, and instead of receiving support, she was put under a microscope, scrutinized, punished. And through all of this, baby Halo still sits in the center, a 1-year-old child whose world is being split in two. Not by his choices, but by the choices of those who are supposed to protect him. A baby born into fame, now growing up in conflict. And as the legal battles rage on and Hollywood moves in silence, one thing is certain. Someone's truth is going to break wide open, and when it does, it won't just change careers. It could reshape a child's future forever, if true. This isn't just a personal loss, it's a career blow. A hit to the image Halle spent years cultivating, one mermaid song at a time. And, the second those court docs leaked, the internet turned into a battleground. Team DDG stormed the blogs with receipt screenshots of the AirTags, threatening texts, photos of his cut hand like evidence straight from CSI. One fan tweeted, "This is what emotional abuse against men looks like. We just never talk about it." Another said, "Halle Bailey, always doing that soft, sweet whisper voice, she needs to be in a straitjacket." It was brutal, but on the flip side, Black Twitter came swinging for Halle, loud, loyal, protective. They called out DDG for weaponizing his millions of followers to villainize the mother of his child after she was already granted a restraining order. One tweet went viral. "This is textbook abuse. Push someone to their edge, record their reaction, then play the victim." And the takes kept rolling in. Actress TM posted a message about protecting black women from character assassination. Meanwhile, YouTuber Aiden Ross casually admitted he hooked DDG up with his lawyers to help him win custody. Let that sink in. Behind the scenes, chess moves were being made. Custody lawyers, emergency filings, image control, PR spin. And all the while, the narrative turned from heartbreak to headlines. And now, the lines are drawn. Protect black fathers versus believe black women. And nobody's budging. The industry, dead silent. Disney still hasn't made a single statement. The indie film reportedly removed Halle's name from internal call sheets. One insider told Deadline off record, the insurance liability just got too high. Why? Because when DDG filed that custody motion, claiming psychological risk and instability, it wasn't just a custody issue, it became a legal one. And for international productions, that's a nightmare. With just 3 days before her scheduled flight, the studio allegedly panicked. Travel was paused. Security concerns raised. Casting directors made quiet calls. Was she officially dropped? No public statement. But everyone knows you don't need a press release to know when a ship has sailed without you. And Halle's fans are furious. They say the industry turned on her the minute things got messy. But insiders say it's not personal, it's just business. Because now Halle isn't just a rising starlet, she's a potential liability file. And if this case proves anything, it's this. Public opinion doesn't care about nuance. For every voice screaming free Halo, there's another saying DDG's playing the system to punish a woman who left him. Even now, videos showing Halle crying on stage are being overlaid with DDG's court statements, asking, is she acting, or breaking down for real? The most chilling part, DDG posted a photo. Shades on. No caption, just a single checkmark emoji. And people knew what that meant. Checkmate. But the war isn't over. And not everybody's clapping. Some think this whole thing is spiraling into a very dangerous territory. Therapists have been warning about it for years. Turning someone's mental health spiral into memes and mess online is how generational trauma gets a sequel. Because while folks are busy picking sides and reposting receipts, baby Halo is still the one caught in the middle, between two parents who might both be unraveling. And when he grows up, this won't just be gossip, it'll be part of his history, part of his legacy. Now it all comes down to the next court date. Halle's legal team has filed motions asking the judge to ignore what they're calling a media smear campaign, arguing that DDG's leaks are a deliberate attempt to sway public opinion before trial. DDG's team, on the other hand, is doubling down on their demands for sole custody or, at the very least, court-monitored exchanges and a ban on international travel with the baby. So far, the judge has stayed pretty quiet. But the stakes, they couldn't be higher. If DDG wins, Halle might lose custody. Period. She might not be able to travel with Halo for future projects. She could even be forced into a parenting course or a psych evaluation. But if Halle wins, DDG could be barred from talking about her or Halo online ever again. That means his content, his music, his narrative, it could all fall apart. The claims he's been making about tracking, manipulation, emotional distress. The court could throw them out, and the custody he's fighting so hard for, gone. Meanwhile, both their reputations are hanging by a thread. For Halle, the danger isn't just personal, it's brand destruction. She was a fairy tale, a role model. A whole generation of black girls saw themselves in her when she became Ariel. Now they're watching that story drown under the weight of a scandal. And for DDG, this is about more than fatherhood. It's about his name, his platform, his right to be believed in a digital world that doesn't forgive, doesn't forget, and definitely doesn't read court filings unless they come with screenshots and emojis. When that gavel drops next, someone's legacy is going under. So now I gotta ask, was Halle a woman crying out for help or a manipulator hiding behind Babysoft branding? Is DDG a protective father speaking his truth, or a bitter man trying to silence the woman who left him? And most importantly, who is actually protecting Halo? Drop your thoughts and comments below, because this isn't just Tita's a full-blown trial. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Because the truth don't hide forever. One thing's for sure, two things for certain, the truth don't hide forever. See y'all next time. Stay woke, stay loud, and keep watching.